Hey there, sci-fi lovers. Welcome to our channel, where the universe unfolds and the impossible becomes real. If you're as passionate about the unknown as we are, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps us create more mind-bending adventures just for you.
The strange and the ordinary alike, buzzed with its usual eclectic mix of travelers, traders, and the occasional scholar. Huddled around tables bathed in the soft glow of dim lamps, patrons exchanged stories from the far reaches of the galaxy. The air was thick with the scent of alien spices and rare liquors, creating an intoxicating blend that only this place, nestled deep in a forgotten asteroid field, could offer. At the bar, Rich Covert stood wiping down the counter, his expression as calm as ever. His graying hair and weathered face told the tale of a man who had seen far more than he ever let on. His steady hands moved over the glass, and though his eyes were on his work, his ears missed nothing. The tavern was more than just a business to him. It was his pulse on the galaxy, a place where the bizarre was ordinary, and even the most dangerous of cosmic events were greeted with a shrug. The doors slid open with a hiss, and Aaron Vash, a known wanderer and self-proclaimed explorer of the universe's edge, stepped through. His entrance, which would have commanded attention in any other place, was met with little more than a few passing glances. This was the Galactic Tavern, after all, where only the truly unimaginable earned more than a raised eyebrow. But there was something about Aaron this time. His usual calm, adventurous swagger had been replaced by a palpable urgency. His eyes, usually filled with mischief and curiosity, darted around the room as if searching for something, or someone. Without waiting for an invitation, he approached the bar, a slight tremor in his hands as he placed them on the counter. "Rich," Aaron began, his voice low but insistent. "I've seen something. Something that's out there. Beyond the edge." Rich, unfazed, continued polishing a glass. "There's always something out there, Aaron," he said with his usual dry humor. "It's called space." A few patrons chuckled, their attention barely shifting from their conversations. Aaron, however, wasn't in the mood for jokes. He leaned in closer, lowering his voice as though the very walls of the tavern might be listening. "This isn't like the other times, Rich. I felt something, an entity, something ancient. And it's aware of us. It's aware of everything." Rich finally paused, meeting Aaron's gaze with mild curiosity. "You sure you didn't just have too much of that brew from the outer rim?" Aaron shook his head, frustrated. "I'm serious, Rich. This thing, it's whispering. Not just in the air, but in your mind. It knows things. It's waiting for something." The mood in the tavern shifted, the usual background noise of chatter and clinking glasses quieting as more patrons tuned in to the conversation. Zara, a quick-witted smuggler with a reputation for chasing danger, leaned back in her chair and grinned. "Whispers, huh? Sounds like you've been spending too much time in deep space, Aaron." Aaron straightened, his jaw tight. "Laugh if you want, but when it comes, don't say I didn't warn you." Rich set the glass down, his expression unchanged. "All right, Aaron. What exactly are we supposed to do about it? This whispering entity? Is it gonna order a drink or something?" The room erupted in laughter. Even Aaron's shoulders relaxed slightly at the absurdity of it all. It was hard to stay tense in the Galactic Tavern, where the biggest threats were often shrugged off with a joke and a drink. But as the night wore on, and Aaron's words settled into the minds of those who had heard them, curiosity began to creep in. Zara, ever the thrill-seeker, couldn't shake the thought of this ancient, whispering entity. "You know," she said, leaning over to Grek, the tavern's errand runner and occasional partner in crime. "Maybe there's something to this. Why not check it out? What's the worst that could happen?" Grek, a large, bumbling alien with eyes that took up half his face, looked at her nervously. You mean besides getting swallowed by a black hole or eaten by space creatures? Zara laughed, slapping Grek on the back. Come on, Grek. Where's your sense of adventure? Besides, if Aaron's right, we'll be the first to find this thing. Maybe it's worth something. Grek sighed, adjusting the straps on his satchel. Fine, but if I get vaporized, I'm blaming you. The next morning, Zara, Grek, and a small crew of willing adventurers gathered at the edge of the asteroid field, preparing to set off toward the coordinates Aaron had provided. The ship, a battered but reliable freighter, hummed with energy as it powered up. As they left the familiar sight of the asteroid belt behind, the stars seemed to stretch out before them, vast and unending. The further they traveled, the more the space around them seemed to change. It wasn't just the stars that were different. It was the feeling. The air inside the ship felt heavier, charged with an unseen energy. Anyone else getting the creeps? Grek asked, his eyes wide as he scanned the readings on the console. Zara, ever the optimist, grinned. Relax, Grek. It's just space doing its thing. But even Zara couldn't completely shake the strange feeling that hung in the air. There was something different about this part of the universe, something that felt alive. As they approached the coordinates, the ship's sensors picked up an anomaly. A swirling vortex of energy, faint but visible, hung in the distance like a rip in the fabric of space. That must be it, Zara said, her voice laced with excitement. Let's get a closer look. As they neared the vortex, the whispers began. At first, they were faint, barely audible over the hum of the ship's engines. But soon they grew louder, swirling around the crew's minds like a cold breeze. Words, fragments of thoughts, slipped into their consciousness, though none could fully understand what they were hearing. Grek's hands shook as he tried to focus on the controls. Do you hear that? It's like... it's talking to us. Zara frowned, her excitement fading as the whispers grew more insistent. Yeah, I hear it. The whispers weren't just sounds. They were emotions. Fear, curiosity, anger. It was as if the very void of space was alive and reaching out to them. What do you think it wants? Grek asked, his voice trembling. Zara didn't answer. Instead, she stared at the vortex, the whispers now filling her head with images, fleeting glimpses of vast, incomprehensible beings, things older than time itself, moving through the universe like shadows in the dark. We need to get out of here, she finally said, her voice low. Whatever this is, we're not ready for it. Grek didn't argue. He quickly reversed the ship's course, pulling away from the vortex as fast as the engines would allow. When the crew returned to the Galactic Tavern, they were greeted with laughter and good-natured ribbing. Zara, ever the showman, exaggerated the tale, describing the vortex as a cosmic carnival and the whispers as spooky background music. Rich listened, his usual calm expression never faltering. So, did you bring anything useful back, or just stories? Zara grinned, leaning on the bar. Just stories, Rich, but good ones. The patrons laughed, raising their glasses in a toast to yet another wild adventure in the vastness of space. Even Aaron, sitting quietly in the corner, couldn't help but smile. Rich poured Zara a drink and handed it to her with a nod. Well, if that whispering entity ever finds its way here, I'll make sure it gets the house special. The tavern roared with laughter again, the tension of the past few hours melting away like ice in a glass of strong liquor. In the Galactic Tavern, no matter how strange or dangerous the universe became, life went on as usual. Rich leaned back against the bar, surveying the lively room with a slight smile. To the next wild story, he muttered under his breath, raising his glass to no one in particular. And just like that, the whispers in the void faded into the background, another tale added to the ever-growing book of unlikely events shared within the walls of the Galactic Tavern.
Thank you so much for joining us on this cosmic journey. If you enjoyed the ride, please hit that subscribe button and share the adventure with others. Your support means the world to us and helps us bring you even more incredible stories. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the stars.